Something kind of interesting. This is a Portland, Oregon, a TriMet system they have here, and there's Wi-Fi, you know, along the tracks, along the trains, that kind of thing. But it's not like free open use Wi-Fi. It's kind of a limited thing. But they've got an interesting app now, right here, where basically you go into the Apple App Store or the Google Play, pay for your train ticket, and then that's your thing. It's a permanent record. I would guess that if you're stopped and checked for your train ticket, that just shows up on your phone. But also it's one of those things that tracks where you are or where you're authorized to be, let's say on or off the train, so that you would do it without, let's say, stopping, you know, at the thing. Because otherwise it's kind of a honor system for the most part. But it's one of those things where cell phone tracking, location tracking, and tying your permanent identity to your mobile devices is becoming a wave of the future with transit. Okay, so they've got a transit system here where, you know, you would carry your mobile device, your portable device around, and that's what does your ticket and is your pass. You know, so if you ever check for your pass, you just try, you know, you show your mobile device, and then but it also realize it's going to show to some degree where you've been traveling, and it's going to mesh and verify with all those cell phone and GPS systems. Now, one of the things that one of the former engineers for Nokia was explaining to me not too long ago was that the way the cell phone systems work here in the United States, for the most part, because of the way they'll pass your phone call off between different cell towers, because of the way they need to know your location in order to know which cell tower to pass your conversation off to, because they're all relatively low powered, and you are expected to be able to have a relatively seamless glitch-free conversation as you, let's say, drive down the road as you're mobile. And they so apparently, according to that, a lot of those systems now, without using the GPS, can tell your location. Now, whether or not they're going to tell your location while the phone is turned off is a little iffy, but when it's turned on, it apparently does. And that's kind of how they can survey how to add more towers to an area, because there'll be more phones there. One of the things that I've seen in discussing this with an attorney who had a case where his client was being accused by the federal government of having attended a meeting with organized crime guys at a hotel. His defense was that he went to the hotel restaurant that was downstairs, and if there was a mafia summit in one of the upstairs suites, he was unaware of it, and he was unaware of it. He wasn't there. The government's evidence in that case apparently was a map tracking system of the cell phones of everybody involved. And what they showed when they went to court was the dots on a map showing the accuracy of the tracking, and as the dots converged at the hotel, they converged on, you know, basically a two-dimensional section of the hotel on a map. They kind of knew what address they were on, and they kind of knew what side of the building they were on, but there was nothing in there which indicated what floor they were on, because the program was a two-dimensional tracking program. It wouldn't tell us, let's say, in a taller building like that, it wouldn't tell us what floor somebody's on. All it tells us is that somebody's been to that address on a map. When we look at Google Maps, Google Earth, it's two-dimensional. It'll give you a three-dimensional rendering of the map, but it's two-dimensional. So, but what the guys also told me in that case with the attorney I talked to, I think it was a 2007, 2008 case, the engineer told me that the equipment has been updated since then, which can tell altitude, it can tell height. Apparently they run multiple stations in taller buildings, like let's say in New York or Chicago. There would be like a separate cell repeater, phone repeater in a upstairs. There might be two or three in a building that tall. But that's when I get into this, and the way locations are tracked. Don't forget it also can, you know, your meal tickets at a place, your ticket to get on a bus, a train, all that's going to track your location. And it's all geared around the use of permanently identified mobile devices. So it's something to understand as we reach into the future of what practices need to be implemented when you're trying to use tradecraft to get around.